me say this. All right. First, let me say, you all have done the business of the people. You don't think so because you just think you're sitting in Cobo Hall and you're doing this. There's a whole city out there. You know, 750,000 people. That many of them are apathetic, because they don't know. As you can tell, everybody who finds out and sees what we've seen, you then become convinced. It's almost like in 2009, when you finally saw for yourself the seals were wrong, you became convinced as to what they've done. Now, being here now, you know that they've done it again. But this time, they've done it in an even more sophisticated way. You've done the business of the people. Now, our responsibility now is to get the word out to the public, to let them know what you've seen. Here is our next move. We've uncovered the fraud. We see thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of signatures, all the same, all in the same handwriting. We're convinced. The public is not, because they've not seen. So they're getting their news from the media. The way that we got to get the public to know, and that the media cannot deny it and cannot just portray me as crazy, is we have to explode the amount of the fraud. That means, as you recall, they opened up, they said they're going to do a sample of the absentee cases. In fact, they opened up, they had 2 cases. They decided to open one of the 2. In opening the one, they counted the number of ballots and saw that there was 298 people who had voted. But as we complained in our petition, we said you have to compare the number of people who voted to what the poll book says. How many people sent back absentee ballots? When they counted that in the book, there was only 242. 298 people voted. 242 people were in the poll book. 98 people voted, 242 in the poll book. That means there's 76 people who voted who are not, what was it, 292 minus 242, was it 56 people? 56 people who voted who were not in the poll book, who didn't send in ballots. Those are the ballots that they've stuffed. In addition, this is an absentee. The next thing they didn't. Well, let me just tell you what they did, so the public will know how they responded. The next step that I said is you have to now take what the printer said was the number of ballots that were printed. The printer sent something in. It was rife with errors, but we took it anyway. And the printer told us how many ballots he printed. When they subtracted that from the number of people who voted, there was 110 ballots missing. Well, we know that 56 were used for what I just described. That means the other 54 were used to take out somebody's ballot vote, write in what they wanted, vote for the people in the districts and all that they wanted, and stick in those 54 ballots into it. But we caught it. Now, when they saw that, the canvassers then said, let's stop. We don't know what to do about this. They then tried to test 4 precincts as a sample out of the hundreds that we selected. When they brought over the 4, they decided to open up 1 as a test, as their sample. It was so far off until they closed it back up. And then that's when they went back to the meeting and said, we're going to end the meeting here now and we're going to just take public comments. The point is that the media can pretend as if there's nothing here, and all of us will look like we're crazy because the public doesn't know. What we have to do now is take it to the next step. We have to explode the amount of the fraud. We have to now get them to do a thorough investigation by opening up every absentee case. Remember, folks, this is the first time in the history of the city that we've had this kind of an examination. It's never happened before. You can tell by listening to the workers, everybody in this room, these hundreds of people in here have seen it. So we have to get them to open every case. The way we do that is we have to go into court. We have to get a judge to say and show them the petitions that we allege the facts and that they have not investigated those facts thoroughly. We want every absentee case open. We want the ballots in it compared to the number of people that are on the poll book. That will show the first level of fraud. because you'll have way more people voting than are in there in the poll book. The second level of fraud is the number of ballots sent from the printer. There will be missing ballots sent from the printer. But the third level of fraud, which is equally as important, which they have not done yet, but the court's going to make them do it, is to look at the absentee application. We all know that the applications that came back will not match the writing on those ballots. We all know it. So we have to get the court to be able to order it. And then our final piece there then, once we have exploded the amount of the fraud, the public will then become aware because the media can't hide it. When you open up and you have hundreds of precincts and absentee precincts that now have excess ballots in them, you can no longer hide it. They will have to acknowledge as to what all of us see. At that stage, we then go to our fourth stage, is to set aside the contest as having been invalid, so filled with fraud you can't know. I will not benefit from this, but it is important. It is important for us that we will never select our leadership if we don't cut out this cancer. The cancer is here. It is here and it's eating up our body, which is the city. So we are doing the work of the public. Whether they hate us or not, or whether we see the paid folks who will walk around as if they are objective people and that sort of thing, we know what they really are. But we've got to do what we're doing. To that end, we need everybody to chip in, even if it's $10, even if it's to make it out, and make the check out to the lawyer directly. Not to me, or if you have to do it to us, you can go to the website, the Barrow from their website, click on Recount Donation. We've got to have the lawyer to go in to be able to file the papers tomorrow, because they want to certify this. As you can see, some canvassers, particularly the two that we saw the other day, are not seeking to try to find the truth. They want to be able to cover up the system. The system is broken. So I think all of us here know it. We've got hundreds of matches, I would guess. Would you say hundreds of these things, duplicate signatures, that we've been working on while you've been in here? We've had a crew of people diligently looking through thousands of ballots and matching them by the handwriting. And you can see it's the recurring handwriting. So we're going to be able to show that. I've been paying for the handwriting expert, and she's been looking at these. She's already come to that conclusion. Now, yes. Now we have to give her more, which is why we've been matching them so we can give her a lot more. And then we will be able to then use that as part of the lawsuit. But we have got to do the people's business, and that's let everybody know. We've got to let everybody know, and everybody's got to be able to, if you got $5, just contribute it into the pot. You can go to the website, write a check for $5, put it on a credit card, or whatever you can afford to do. That's our next move. Otherwise, we will never be able to get it into the court, get the order that we need, because we're also going to ask them to seize these cases, for the county to retain control of these cases. The county is straight. The county is honest. We've got to keep it under them. We know where the dishonesty is, and we're going to compel Janice Winfrey to come in and to ask. Once we file the lawsuit, we have subpoena power. Once I have the subpoena power, we will bring all of these people. And the way they treated Mr. Badgett, a senior citizen, the disrespect they treated him with, you've seen that? What we're going to do is we're going to bring him back and let him tell his story and what he saw. That's very important. We're going to bring these folks back, okay?
Comment on that? I talked to Davis Anderson's attorney, and they said what would be powerful in terms of Mr. Badgett's testimony is physical, hard evidence, or firsthand, knowledge. So the pictures, the video, the smoking gun, so to speak.
The smoking gun is Mr. Badgett Sr. He spoke directly to the man, so it's not hearsay. He spoke directly to the man, and therefore, yes, they have the name.
They can subpoena the video.
Yeah, but they're not going to. These people are not going to supply it. As long as this board does not urge and does not press it, they're not going to supply it, and they're not going to urge and suppress it. We can't walk around naive here now. We got to recognize what we're dealing with. Just because we know we're right, just because we know the law's on our side, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So I don't mean this in a negative way. Please, cover your heart now. But But don't drag me into your naiveness. I want us, we got to fight this with what we're dealing with. We're dealing with plumbers. Do you know what plumbers are? If you don't know, go ask somebody who's living during the time of Watergate. These are people who do this. They just never counted on us looking at this. This is the first time in the history of this city that we have questioned a primary election.
Right.
And we now know. Now it's up to us to get it out. We need to be able to raise the money to give to this lawyer so he will then file what we need to have filed, because we can't let them certify this. And they're counting on it. Every news story says, well, it won't make any difference no matter what they do. It won't change the outcome, because they don't know how we're going to execute this plan. Now you do. Now you do. And everybody probably who's watching, if any of you here are recording this, I'm sure they're going to know whoever it is or whatever, but we don't care. The public needs to know. Having said that, is there any questions?